this is a little video for you to try and get you to understand the connection between different instruments and the piano and how important it is for your harmony and how to produce a nice tone. So first of all, I would say you want to sit at the piano, that you've got room between the piano and the bench where you're going to stand, and then imagine you've got a yardstick on your back, and your spine is straight like a stack of checkers, and then lean forward and then set your elbows in the keys and then lift your feet up and down and just feel the whole core body weight, that's what's going to flop right through to the floor. And when that is coming down like that and accelerating right through to the floor, that's what you want to hang on the tip of your finger on the bottom of the key with. It's the weight of your body. You just have to feel you're hanging like on the edge of a cliff, halfway down the cliff. So you want to sink the key down like sinking into a mattress and draw the tone, because if you want a huge tone, it's all 70 trillion body cells are flopping down in, and you can catch that weight and hang on it. And that's that sudden release. You don't want just this, you want a sudden release. So that's what's giving the tone. And then you've got to realize that it's just like a tsunami. These fingers are like making a little machine that makes a wave, a tsunami. So when you flop, you want to feel that you're going down in and then into a pulse. You're saying pulse all the time, like your finest intervals or movement in your music is like, say it's an eighth note bass, it's eighths. Pulse, 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 like a metronome. Tick, tock, tick, tock. And when you can flop in and catch that energy into the wire, the hammer comes up and it makes the wire make a wave all the way to the back of the piano, over the bridge and back to you. And that wave is able to vibrate with wires on a piano. It's able to vibrate in different ways. And one, it could be like 440 vibrations in a second. Then the wire is automatically, by physics, able to divide itself in half. So each half is vibrating at an octave higher. So if I play this low A, that high one starts up by the sympathetic vibration of the 880, and the other one, then it'll divide itself in three, and so on, and vibrate like that. And other pitches, these are harmonics that we try to get when we're producing a nice tone. So when we can feel that finger is, when you flop down with your weight, is drawing the key down, and the finger is playing down and flopping down in and catching on the key bed and making a wave with that hammer of the wire, then you're making all these overtones. If you push the key down, you get no wave. If you flop and catch, you get this beautiful wave for the color. So without it and just pushing, you get, but with it you get. So you'll be able to hear color. And the other thing is intervals. You want to understand intervals as it relates to the guitar or anything for your chords. So you realize on a harp, which this is, one piece of wood after another is just one semitone. When you start on C, which starts a group of two black keys, and you build that, you get what's called C major. And so when you play the first, third, and fifth, you get a triad. And you can do that on every degree of the scale. So you can do it from 5 to 1, and that's just GBD, which is. So you hear. And the other point I meant to think of to tell you, of course, is that when you play a note, the tone starts to get quieter on a piano. So you want to hear it dying down and then match how quiet it got when you play your next note and link the two with your fingers, tight finger legato. So if I played like. Now if I play them all the same, it's boring, nobody listens, but if I go. See, I match it. And I take the listener somewhere. Always going to a point or coming down from a point. So those are all ideas that are similar to many instruments, and you try to make the piano sing like a violin. Try to make it have that vocal sound that's coming from your heart when you're singing. So that if I was playing one other point is that in physics, when you think of throwing a ball up in the air, basketball, it gets slower and slower and slower because gravity's always pulling on it. If you take a hockey puck and you hit it, you give it one amount of energy and it'll continue at that speed forever unless it meets up with the friction of the ice and the air. And so with playing the piano, if I give you an example like Clair de Lune, if I can release on the way up, it's like golf and allowing the load to settle over the top. If you can release on the way up and let gravity slow it down and let it meditate at the top and then accelerate down, you've got all this power, and you can have that sharp finger action and give a little sting to it as well if you want even more clarity on the tip. So if I go just without doing that, but if I can throw it up like that, that gives you some ideas to think about, because music is all about listening and singing from your soul and from your heart. And if you do it with the right physics, and I'm sure it'll be the same with your guitar, with your flute, with any instrument you play, it has to come from what you have to say and from your feelings. So I hope that gives you some good ideas to work with. Take care. Bye-bye.